finally some good news and some hope on the horizon. I'm so excited about this announcement that Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre made this morning. And again, it's finally some good news. So as many of you know, the federal election is in full swing. And this morning, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre made a huge announcement. And that is that if there is a Conservative government, that the Conservative government led by Pierre Poilievre would cut income taxes by 15%. This is huge. You know, I've seen a lot of campaigns over the years, and this I think is one of the most meaningful campaign promises that I've ever seen. It's huge. So let me break down what this means for you. So should the Conservatives form government, this 15% tax break would save the average family $1,800 a year and the average worker about $900 a year. It's a huge cut in income taxes. And it means that everybody in Canada is going to have a more powerful paycheck. But because the way that this tax break is structured, it's going to actually have a hugely meaningful impact to Canadians who have what would be considered a modest income now, right? Because we know that when taxes are reduced on people that are having trouble making ends meet, that are living paycheck to paycheck on modest incomes, be it, workers, senior moms, families that have a lot of children, seniors that are on fixed incomes and whatnot, that those who make lower income, if they're having to pay income tax, right, that if we lower that tax by 15%, it's going to make it a lot easier to have a little bit more room to pay the bills. Now, why is this so important? Over the last decade of the Liberals have seen families paying $10,000 more in taxes than when they were elected a decade ago. The Liberals have consistently increased taxes, but not only have they increased taxes, they've also doubled the size of the federal debt. And they've done that by spending money on just so many things, that have been involved in scandal or waste. For example, I could think of so many, the We Charity scandal, the Arrive scam app. I could go on and on. I've been part of litigating those scandals for the last 10 years. So what Pierre Poilievre said this morning is he's not going to do any of that, right? The Liberals have been focused on enriching their friends, their wealthy corporate CEOs. He's going to say enough of that. We're going to fix the budget, but we're also going to ensure that Canadians have a more powerful paycheck by one of the biggest income tax cuts in recent Canadian history. And I know that that's going to make an impact for you. So many of you have written into my constituency office over the last few years. I'm hearing it on the doors in the campaign that affordability is the number one concern in the country, followed closely by crime, right? But those are two issues that the Liberals have really exacerbated with their terrible decade of failure. And it's so nice today. Oftentimes I come to you guys with, just here's another Liberal scandal. Here's another, Liberal issue that hope's on the way. This is a really positive plan. This is going to affect every Canadian in a really positive, hopeful way. And I know that amount of money, that amount of savings for the average Canadian worker, it's going to make a difference. And, when people have a little bit more wiggle room to just afford a little bit more, people take more risk. They are less stressed. Those are all things that we need to be working on. And folks, when I woke up and I saw this announcement, I was like, yes, here is the positive, hopeful change that this country needs after a decade of Liberal failures. The Liberals, they're not in it for you. You're going to hear a lot from the Liberals, and it's going to be this very negative sort of messaging that that actually the new guy, Mark Carney there, who is the former chair of Brookfield, that had these issues and whatnot, he actually went out and was like, oh, everything's negative. I wrote about this a couple of weeks ago. What we need is hope. And this morning, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre came out with what I thought was a really, really meaningful policy. And you're going to hear more about it and a lot more positive, hopeful announcements that will make life more affordable for Canadians, that are going to build homes and also stop a lot of the crime that we've seen be created under the Liberals' decade of catch and release policies. So I have an ask for you. Many of you know how consequential this election is. help me share this message by sharing this video. It's a simple thing you can do to help me, because you know that we're fighting the left-wing mainstream media that are more concerned about getting government handouts than giving, fair and unbiased coverage of issues. This is a great announcement, and every Canadian, regardless of political stripe, needs to hear it, because it's going to impact them in a positive way should the Conservatives form a government. And that's what I'm asking you today. Share this video. Talk to your friends about voting Conservatives, because it's these types of positive, hopeful, meaningful announcements that are going to help average Canadians, as opposed to, the Liberals' wealthy friends that they've been helping for the last decade, while the rest of us have had, a harder time making ends meet. That's really what we need to be focused on. So folks, please share this video. Please help me get this word out. And again, I'm going to say this too. If you want to, come out and make a difference, volunteer for your local Conservative candidate. Donate to your local Conservative candidate. Let's together we can bring positive, hopeful change, like this massive income tax cut that Pierre Poilievre announced this morning. So let's get this done, folks. I'm going to get back out on the doors and keep talking to people in my riding. But together we're going to get this done. Share this video. Awesome news. Working hard for you. Have a great day.